Tanya's voice cuts through the lobby like a knife. She says, mocking and cruel, "Look at her dress. Is that the best you could afford?" Sarah stands there, humiliated in front of 200 people. The words sting. The laughter around her stings more. Tanya continues louder, "You should try the hotel bar downstairs. Your type fits in better there." Sarah's face burns. She can feel every eye on her. She can feel her heart pounding. This is the worst moment of her life. Or at least it seems that way. She has no idea what's about to happen. No idea that in just a few hours everything is going to change. No idea that the woman mocking her is about to witness the most humiliating moment of her own life. This is the story of how Sarah Bennett walked into a gala to prove something to her ex. But what happened instead was something nobody expected. A sleek black sports car pulls up to the gala entrance. The kind of car that announces itself before you even see it. The paparazzi cameras start clicking immediately. Marcus steps out first. Expensive watch. Designer sunglasses. He moves like he owns the place. Behind him, his new girlfriend Tanya emerges. Loud dress. Louder energy. The kind of person who needs the world to know she arrived. They pause at the entrance deliberately. The cameras keep flashing. They pose like they're walking the red carpet at the Met. Marcus keeps his arm around Tanya's waist, pulling her close to the cameras. Marcus says to the cameras, overconfident, "Yeah, we're excited to be here tonight. Should be quite the evening." Security approaches with clipboards. Marcus doesn't wait. He flashes his pass before the guard even finishes speaking. Marcus says, condescending, "Come on, buddy. You know who I am. This won't take long." Tanya laughs like it's the funniest thing she's heard all week. She loops her arm through his and they push past security into the lobby. But then Tanya stops. Her eyes narrow. She sees something through the glass doors. Another car is pulling up. It's not flashy. Not loud. A modest Mercedes, beautiful in its simplicity. The door opens quietly. A woman steps out. Sarah. She's wearing an elegant, understated gown. Her hair is perfectly done but not overdone. Her makeup is subtle. She looks wealthy, yes, but not because she's trying to prove it. It's the kind of wealth that doesn't need announcing. Marcus's entire face changes. His smile hardens. His jaw tightens. He grabs Tanya's arm and whispers something urgent in her ear. Tanya's eyes light up like she's just been handed the best gift. Tanya whispers, excited, "Oh my God, is that her?" Marcus whispers back, bitter, "Yeah, just stay close to me, okay? And don't be nice." Marcus watches as Sarah approaches the entrance. He steps directly into her path. Marcus says, mocking and loud enough for everyone to hear, Well, look who's here. Did you finally decide to start sleeping with rich men just to enter places like this?" Sarah stops dead. The words land like a punch. She tries to walk around him. He steps in front of her again. People in the lobby turn and stare. Phones come up. This is becoming a scene. Tanya laughs. Not a gentle laugh. A cruel one that fills the entire lobby. Tanya says, loud and theatrical, "Ah, poor thing. You know, Marcus told me about you. Said you always felt so out of place at these kinds of events. Look at you trying so hard." Marcus says, stepping closer with fake sympathy, "Seriously though, you should have called. I could have warned you that you're not really this level, you know? This is for people who actually made something of themselves." He gestures to himself. Tanya grins and adjusts her designer purse. Clearly a gift from him, clearly meant to be noticed. Sarah says nothing. She walks forward, her chin high, directly past both of them. But she can feel their eyes on her back. She can hear them laughing. And she can feel the weight of 200 eyes in the lobby, all wondering what just happened. The security line moves quickly. Sarah reaches the scanner. The guard scans her pass. The machine beeps. But not the clear green light beep that says welcome. A red beep. A warning beep. The guard's expression changes. Confusion crosses his face. He scans again. Same red beep. The security guard says, apologetic but firm, "Ma'am, I'm sorry. This pass is showing an error. It says here you're not registered for tonight's event. Are you sure you have the right invitation?" Sarah's stomach drops. She reaches into her purse. She pulls out the invitation. It's genuine. Someone very important gave her this invitation personally. Sarah says, calm but with a slight tremor. No, that's my actual invitation. I was invited by someone very important. The security guard says, interrupting not unkindly. I understand, ma'am, but our system shows no record. I can't let you through without verification. Marcus appears from across the lobby. He leans against the desk, Tanya tucked under his arm. They've been watching the entire thing. Marcus says loud for the crowd. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, look at her. Does she look like she belongs at a VIP gala? She's probably confused. These places all look the same to certain people, right? Tanya cackles. People are watching now. This isn't just a scene anymore. This is entertainment. Phones are definitely out now. Tanya says louder and more vicious. No offense, but we should probably check with the hotel bar downstairs. I think that might be more your speed. Cheaper drinks. Less exclusive. More accessible. The implication lands perfectly. She means less successful. She means where people like you belong. The accent on accessible makes it clear. The security guard is uncomfortable now. He's about to say something when another guard approaches. A supervisor. He scans the pass again. The system still flags it as invalid. The security supervisor says, firm but not unkind, ma'am, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to ask you to step aside. Without proper clearance, I can't allow you through. We can help you contact the event coordinator to clarify your status, but right now, I can't let you enter. Marcus steps even closer, blocking her path completely. Marcus says in a low, cruel voice, come on. Let's not make this more embarrassing than it already is. Just go home, yeah? Not everyone can cut it at this level. It's not a bad thing. It's just reality. Sarah's throat tightens. Tanya is recording now, openly recording on her phone, laughing, showing Marcus the screen as if they're capturing something viral. A crowd has gathered. Other guests are watching. Some are whispering. Some are recording too. Sarah feels heat rising in her chest. Not anger. Shame. That's the worst part. Even though none of this is her fault, even though she knows the truth, she feels shame. That's what public humiliation does. It makes you believe for just a moment that maybe they're right. She looks at the ground. She's about to turn and walk away. To give them exactly what they want. Her heart is pounding. Her eyes are burning. But she keeps her face still. That's when a voice cuts through the noise. A man says, commanding and authoritative. What exactly is happening here? Everyone stops. Phones lower slightly. Marcus and Tanya go rigid. A man appears through the crowd. Sharply dressed. Expensive watch. But more than that, there's an unmistakable air of authority about him. The kind of man who doesn't raise his voice because he doesn't have to. The kind of man who commands respect simply by existing. He's looking directly at the security supervisor. His name is David. David says, calm but final. Do you have any idea who this woman is? The supervisor hesitates. He doesn't. He has no idea. The security supervisor says, sir, her pass isn't registering in our system. I'm just following protocol. David cuts him off, ice in his voice. I don't care if it's registering in your system or not. This woman has more of a right to be here than anyone else in this building. Let her through immediately. And check your system again. There's been an error. He turns to face Marcus and Tanya directly. His eyes are cold. David says to them, deadly calm. And you two should find somewhere else to be right now. You're causing a disturbance. Tanya's face goes pale. Marcus tries to speak, but nothing comes out. David simply turns back to the security guard, who is now frantically typing on his keyboard, his face flushed with embarrassment. The security supervisor says, panicked and apologetic, ma'am, I am so sorry. Please come right through. We apologize for the confusion. David nods subtly to Sarah. She walks forward past Marcus, past Tanya, toward the entrance to the ballroom. As she passes Marcus, she catches his eye for just a moment. He looks away first. David walks beside her. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't need to. His silent presence is a message to everyone watching. This woman matters. This woman has power. Everything you just witnessed was wrong. Behind them, Marcus and Tanya are frozen in humiliation. The crowd's whispers follow Sarah into the ballroom. People whisper, who is she? She must be someone important. Did you see that? That guy just completely shut them down. Inside the ballroom it's stunning. Chandeliers. Champagne. Everything glimmers. Sarah is seated at a premium table. David introduces himself formally now. David says, sitting beside her and speaking quietly, "David Chun, I apologize for what happened out there. That was completely unacceptable." Sarah says, her voice steady again, "Thank you for that. I wasn't sure what was happening with the pass." David says, "There was no system error. I'm looking into who did that. But we'll handle it. For now, let's just focus on the evening. You've earned being here far more than most of these people." Sarah nods slowly. Something shifts inside her. The shame transforms. It becomes something else. Something like steel. Marcus and Tanya eventually make their way inside, but they're shaken. They keep stealing glances at Sarah, who demolished them at the entrance. They see the way David leans in when she speaks. The way she laughs. The way his hand touches her arm with respect. Marcus leans toward Tanya and whispers something urgent. Tanya nods. She's about to make a move. She excuses herself from their table and approaches the buffet, but she's positioned near Sarah's table now. She makes her move loudly, deliberately. Tanya calls over loudly to a passing waiter. "Excuse me, could you help me with something? This is kind of awkward, but I'm wondering if there was a seating mistake tonight." Heads turn slightly. Sarah and David keep talking, but people are listening now. Tanya continues, "Fake sweet. It's just that this section is usually for VIPs, right? And I'm wondering if she might be in the wrong spot? No offense to her, obviously. I'm sure her table is lovely somewhere else." The insult is dressed up as concern. The cruelty is wrapped in civility. Marcus appears. He leans down so only Sarah at the table can hear him, but he makes sure Tanya can also enjoy what he's about to say. Marcus whispers, his voice full of venom. "They let you in because of him, didn't they? Are you that desperate now? Throwing yourself at the first powerful man who shows you attention." The words are designed to hurt. Designed to suggest that Sarah has no real right to be here. That any status she has is borrowed. But something is different now. Sarah looks at him and instead of shame, there's clarity in her eyes. She can see him fully now. How small he is. How desperately he needs to tear her down to feel bigger. She simply looks away. She doesn't respond. She turns her attention back to David like Marcus doesn't exist. This infuriates Marcus more than any words could have. Marcus says, standing up and desperate to provoke her. "You know what? This is pathetic. How far you've fallen. But I guess that's what happens when you can't make it on your own. Right?" David stands up slowly. His height. His presence. His authority. It all becomes apparent suddenly. David says calmly to Marcus, not louder, just more final. "You need to walk away. Right now." Marcus says, trying to maintain confidence. "I'm just talking to." David says. "Walk away." Marcus does. Tanya scurries behind him. But they stay in the ballroom waiting for something. They can feel it. They can feel that this isn't over. They can feel something coming. An hour passes. Cocktails are served. Conversations flow around them. Marcus keeps checking his phone. Tanya keeps looking in their direction. They're waiting. Then the house lights dim slightly. A spotlight hits the stage. The event's host steps forward. There's a microphone. Quiet descends on the ballroom. The host says warmly and proudly, "Good evening, everyone. We have a very special announcement tonight. This year, our organization achieved something unprecedented. We expanded our reach, our impact, and our vision for the future. And none of it would have been possible without one extraordinary person." Marcus's face starts to change. Something is wrong. Something feels very wrong. The host continues. "This person funded our major expansion project. This person owns 45% of our corporation. And this person's visionary leadership didn't just make tonight possible. She's made the future possible for thousands of people in our community." The spotlight moves. It sweeps across the ballroom. Eyes follow it. The host says, "Please join me in honoring someone who embodies everything we believe in. A woman of quiet strength. A woman of impossible brilliance. A woman who knows that true success doesn't require noise or fanfare." The spotlight lands. It's on Sarah. The host reads carefully. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand and welcome to the stage the co-founder and lead investor of this organization, the woman who made our most ambitious project possible, Ms. Sarah Bennett. The entire ballroom erupts. People are on their feet immediately. The applause is sustained. The energy is undeniable. Marcus's face goes white. Tanya grabs his arm. She's shaking. Sarah stands slowly. She smooths her gown. She walks toward the stage with absolute poise. Every step is graceful. Every movement is controlled. She reaches the stage. The host embraces her. The applause continues. Sarah steps to the microphone. The ballroom goes quiet. Everyone waits. Sarah says, her voice calm, clear and powerful. Thank you. I'm honored to be here tonight. She pauses. Her eyes move slowly across the crowd. When they land on Marcus and Tanya, she doesn't look away. She looks directly at them. Sarah continues, her voice steady and undeniable. I'm also honored that I made it through the door tonight, which, as many of you witnessed, wasn't as easy as it should have been. The crowd murmurs. They know what she means. Sarah says, just a few hours ago I was told I didn't belong here. I was told I wasn't good enough. I was told, quite loudly and quite publicly, that I didn't have clearance to enter a building where I own 45% of the company. Gasps ripple through the room. Sarah's voice now carries weight. I was mocked. I was ridiculed. Someone deliberately tried to prevent me from being here. But here's what I learned: bullying, cruelty, mockery. These things only have power if you give them power. She steps closer to the edge of the stage. Sarah says deliberately, looking right at them. Success doesn't scream. Confidence doesn't mock. Real strength doesn't need to diminish others to feel good about itself. Tanya covers her face. Sarah says, finishing with her voice clear, I'm grateful for tonight, for the reminder that the world still needs people like me. People who believe that quiet, consistent, genuine work will always matter more than any performance ever could. And I'm grateful for people like David who see that, who recognize that, who protect that. She pauses. The ballroom holds its breath. Sarah says, to anyone in this room who was involved in what happened earlier, I hope you learned something tonight. Because I certainly did. The ballroom erupts again. But this time it's different. This time it's righteous. This time people are standing not just to be polite, but because they've witnessed something real. Something raw. Something true. The host escorts Sarah back to her seat. As she passes by Marcus and Tanya's table, she doesn't acknowledge them. She simply walks past with her head held high. The applause continues. People are approaching her table now. Other guests, sponsors, event organizers. They're shaking her hand. They're thanking her. They're congratulating her. Marcus and Tanya are trapped. To leave would be admitting defeat. But to stay is to sit in a room where everyone now knows exactly who they are. They chose wrong. They bet on the wrong horse. The CEO of the organization approaches Sarah's table. He's red-faced. He's clearly been briefed. The CEO says to Sarah quietly but genuinely, Ms. Bennett, I cannot apologize enough. We've located the employee who altered your pass. This is completely unacceptable. There will be serious consequences. Sarah says, gracious but firm, thank you for handling this so quickly. I appreciate it. The CEO nods and walks away. And then, 15 minutes later, 2 security guards appear at Marcus and Tanya's table. The security guard says, professional and with no emotion, you need to leave the premises. Marcus says, standing up and defensive, what? Why? I have a pass. I paid for. The security guard says, you were involved in a coordinated attempt to humiliate another guest. You attempted to manipulate our security system. You created a disturbance. You have 15 minutes to collect your belongings and leave the building. Tanya is crying now. She's standing up, looking around as if someone will come to her defense. No one does. Tanya says desperately, I didn't know who she was. We were just joking around. I didn't mean. The second security guard says, you have 15 minutes. They gather their things. They try to walk toward the exit with some dignity, but there is none to be found. Every eye in the room is on them. Every phone is recording this moment. As they're being escorted out, Sarah walks past them without looking. She doesn't gloat. She doesn't smile. She doesn't need to. The moment speaks for itself. Sarah and David reach the exit together. Outside, the night air is cool and clean. David says as they step outside and speaking quietly, "You handled that with strength that most people could never find." Sarah says, looking out at the city lights, "It wasn't about strength tonight. It was just about truth." David says, "Tomorrow at 9? My office? I'd like to formally discuss that partnership I mentioned. I think you're exactly what we need." Sarah smiles. "It's genuine. It's earned." Sarah says, "I'd like that." Inside the ballroom behind them, the party continues. People are still talking about what just happened. How quickly the narrative turned. How a woman they didn't know an hour ago is now the person everyone respects. How someone tried to destroy her reputation and ended up destroying their own. She walked into the gala and was humiliated. But she walked out as the one everyone will remember. If this story gave you chills, if you felt that moment when everything flipped on its head, smash that like button right now. And subscribe because we post stories like this every single week. Stories where quiet strength wins. Where real power shows up at exactly the right moment. Comment below. What would you do if you were Sarah? How would you handle someone trying to humiliate you like that? Hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Because in this world, the ones who matter most, they never announce themselves. They just show up and change everything.